No religion officially overtakes Christianity in New Zealand census stats.
Here's a summary of the article.
The number of New Zealanders with no religion has officially surpassed the number of people who identify as Christian in New Zealand, with a secular advocacy group calling for fewer concessions to be given to Christians. Newly released data from the 2018 shows that 48.59% of New Zealanders have no religion, up from 41.92% at the 2013 census. The numbers continue a trend line which has been observed over several recent census counts. A graph illustrating New Zealand census data of those identifying as Christian and those identifying as having no religion. In a press release today, Humanist New Zealand, a secular advocacy group, said the numbers suggest it's time to rethink the concessions and privileges afforded to Christians. Humanist New Zealand President Jolene Phipps said that Christianity has a privileged position in public policy today that is out of step with modern New Zealand. The 2018 census numbers also show rising numbers of people identifying with other religions.
This post received a score of 18,767, with an upvote ratio of 91%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Nice to see that secularism seems to be the future. A great development.
As a Kiwi living in Australia, one of the weirdest things is how openly religious the current Dowse government is. Seeing the PM of Australia openly do speeches at Hillsong Church was so bizarre. Something you'd never see in NZ. Religion needs to stay out of politics.
You should never read Brazilian news.
I imagine it makes Australia look like a charming secular paradise.
I actually thought else was pretty secular compared to America. I'm American.
I can confirm that it is generally more secular. Source: am Australian. Other source if that's not enough.
But how can this be true? NZ is near the top of nearly every measure of well-being in the developed world. Oh.
Yeah man, it's almost as if the world would improve if people started thinking rationally instead of relying on millennia-old books.
Or, maybe, the more prosperous, safe, and healthy a nation gets, the less need they have for the supernatural.
Little of this, little of that.
Goddamn NZ, stop showing off your better education system, Australia.
He can't, we don't believe in him.
Christ. This thread reminds me of atheism back in 2013.
I'm starting to doubt New Zealand is real, it just sounds too good to be true.
It has a lot of issues too. Life is difficult here if you are disabled still. Healthcare is still a mess and a few other things too.
The suicide rate is also through the roof. For a beautiful country we hide our feelings well.
Don't forget child and domestic abuse rates and our obesity levels. We have a lot of good but we also have a lot of bad, and left unchecked, like a cavity, eventually the bad will rot away the good.
Jesus, have you ever left the fucking country? Child and domestic abuse should be taken very seriously, but they're problems that affect every country, and NZ is by no means an outlier, or statistically abnormal in these regards. I've still never been to a country with less homeless people than New Zealand. Again, let's try to give everyone a home, but as someone who has lived in the USA, Colombia, Brazil and works in Africa, I find it offensive to these countries with real socio-economic issues to say that New Zealand has a homelessness problem. The definition of homelessness in New Zealand includes people who live in trailer parks and caravans.
You're mischaracterizing the housing crisis as a homelessness crisis, which is probably not what the other submitter intended. The housing crisis is more accurately described as a housing affordability crisis where the national median wage has not kept pace with rising house prices. Stats.gov.nz for details.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.